Forest are on the verge of being #1 in the country, but the Duke seniors, who have never beaten them, have other plans. From Winston-Salem, North Carolina, it's #8 Duke against second-ranked Wake Forest. The Blue Devils have won 6 of 7 to reach 17-5, while the Demon Deacons have lost only once in 19 games. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Dick Vitale. It's great to have you with us. Duke has lost 9 straight to Wake Forest. They haven't lost 10 straight to anybody in 70 years. They're hot, too. They won 6 of the last 7 games, and the guy that's making a difference is Trajan Langdon.
I'll tell you, Mike, he's been on fire. I believe he's the best pure shooter in the ACC. He had a phenomenal game against North Carolina. He knocked down 7 trifectas to tie a school record. Today, he's going to have to come up big and have that three-point shot working, because you're not going to get a whole lot on the interior with Tim Duncan.
One of the reasons Tim Duncan came back for his senior year had to be a shot at a national championship and a #1 ranking. And with Kansas losing last night, they're certainly headed in the right direction.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. All he's got to do is win here today, beat Missouri at Missouri, and they're #1. The one thing about Tim Duncan that makes him so special, he's playing so possessed. Against Maryland, they were on the ropes, baby. And I'll tell you, he was sensational in the second half. Scored 25 in the second half to spark him to a big W. He is flat out a PT Pierce.
The Duke Blue Devils have worked their way back into the ACC race, but can they challenge the Demon Deacons and keep them from a shot at their first #1 ranking in school history? Wake and Duke after this. Coliseum in Winston-Salem, ready for Duke against Wake Forest. Here are the U.S. Army starting lineup. For the Blue Devils, Steve Wojciechowski not only runs the offense, but keys the perimeter defense. If he can force Wake Forest mistakes, Duke has a much better chance. For Wake, freshman Lauren Woods has moved into the starting lineup after putting up significant numbers in limited minutes as a part-timer. He's 4th in the ACC in blocks. You have to go back to 1921 through 1928 to find someone who has beaten Duke more than 9 times in a row. Wake Forest will try to join North Carolina in that company. And there's Dave Odom, 3 out of the last 6 years, ACC Coach of the Year. And his star player, they're shooting for #1.
I'll tell you one thing, you talk about that streak, 1921 to 28. That's before Dean was even born, before it was Blue Heaven.
Wake controls the opening tip. This is Rutland.
Look at the height, the size mismatches right now. Woods being played like parallel. Can't handle him inside. Too big, Mike. And also Newton's not on the floor, sitting on a pine.
Newton has not pleased Mike Krzyzewski.
He hasn't lived up to the standards that Mike has for the Duke program in terms of effort.
Here's Wojciechowski. Down the lane goes Rashawn McLeod, rejected, got it back, dumps it off the parallel, and he lost it. And you have to give that credit to the presence of Tim Duncan. People get very anxious under there.
There's a look at Newton sitting on a sideline, only averaging 6 points a game since the first Wake Forest game. He's really got to step it up. He's going to have to give him some positive minutes for them to have a chance. They got no matchups here. Rashawn McLeod's playing against Duncan at 6'8".
Taman Tomzowski is now available for them. Amonette has it blocked, but Duncan got it back, or Woods got it back, and Amonette hits a 3.
Amonette hit 2 big threes against Clemson, had 8 points, had 10 against North Carolina. He started because Ricardo Peral was in a computer science class.
3-pointer by Langdon won't go. Fight for the rebound. Duke keeping it alive. Good job by McLeod.
He was in computer science class and he forgot about practice and stayed there and put a little extra time in and came late, lost his starting role.
Wojo for 3. Good answer there for Duke. 5-3, Wake by 2.
Well, you're going to have to make the perimeter shot because you'll get very little on the interior with Woods and Mr. Duncan.
Wake Forest allowing only 33.7% field goals against. There's a triple team. Look at Duncan. The All-American goes down on the floor. Langdon got the ball and called time.
You know, Mike, you mentioned the numbers that they've allowed with their field goal percentage defensively. It even gets tougher in the last 5 minutes of a game. The last 5 minutes, teams are only shooting 22% against them.
Of course, Duncan takes away all the easy baskets, so all you have primarily 10 to 20-foot jump shots.
And that's why you got to basically have guys like Langdon get good looks, because if you don't have the perimeter shot falling down against them, you're in a whole lot of trouble, unless you can beat them in transition, and that's something Maryland did early in the matchup last Saturday.
Only Marquette is allowing, has better field goal percentage defense than Wake Forest, and both of those teams would easily break the NCAA record established earlier by Marquette. Wojciechowski pushes it up court. Duke going with a very small, very quick lineup.
Capel really's had a great run here recently at 19 against Carolina.
We're tied at 5. The jumper hit by Chris Carrawell, the freshman from St. Louis.
What a great story. Carrawell's matched up with Woods. They played together in high school, won the state championship at Cardinal Ritter High School, and now they're guarding each other. Look at him. Carrawell's trying to hug him. Look at him. He's hugging him in a post. He's hugging him.
And neither thinks the other can cover him tonight.
It's unbelievable. He was hugging him.
Ball comes loose, and backcourt violation against Wake Forest. That is the one area where Wake is vulnerable. They have committed more turnovers than they have assists.
Take a look at Carrawell down in the post. Now watch him with Woods here on the right-hand side. Look at him hugging him. Look at him hugging him. He said, that's my teammate. I love him. That's why I'm hugging him. I played high school with him.
Capel fouled by Braswell on the way in.
I'll tell you, you mentioned their backcourt, Mike, as you look at Mike Krzyzewski, who's really got this team back, and he said our standards are back to where I want them. And he said unless Mr. Newton can meet our standards, and that means give us a supreme effort, he's sitting on a pine.
Capel for 3.
Making the 3. They lead the ACC in shooting the 3.
Duke takes the lead 8-5. They're hitting better than 8 a game from long range. And that's what you have to do against Wake Forest.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski said today at the shootout, he said, we must be quicker, we must be wider because we are not taller.
Foul inside away from the ball. And it's going to be a hold on Carrawell.
Carrawell really trying hard, working on the inside. He's trying to work against Woods down in a post. He's hugging him, and the ref nails him. They must have had some high school team. Jahidi White played at that high school as well from out of Georgetown.
Got it into Duncan, lost it on the way up, or Woods, rather. And then he's fouled.
Interesting, Mike. Woods didn't play a minute against Duke in the first matchup. And watching him inside, look at that size. 7'1" against 6'6". And we're not talking about a 7'1" that's a project. We're talking a 7'1" with agility.
Even with limited minutes, he's been averaging 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds a game, and is number 4 in the ACC in blocked shots.
Well, since he's been inserted in the starting lineup to replace Sean Allen, he's averaging double figures now, and he gives him a little presence in here with Mr. Duncan. The Twin Towers.
He agreed it was the best of all possible worlds that he could play his freshman year with Tim Duncan still here.
He doesn't have to be the #1 option. He can learn. This little guy, Wojo, my Rambo man, trying to put pressure on the defense.
Carrawell gets it to McLeod, who's really getting better as the year rolls along. The transfer from St. John's has his first 2.
Second rebounder on the club. Had a big game against Maryland. Had 22 points, 12 rebounds. Now he's being asked to check in front Duncan. So they want to shut this pass up at the high post. They want to pressure the post. They want him to make the entry from the wing. They worked on that at their shoot-around.
McLeod calls for his second personal foul on a reach-in. The Duke bench does not like the call. See, that'll get Mike Capel up to come in for Carrawell.
Mike, they really want to pressure out here up on top. There's McLeod. He's following the orders of Mr. Krzyzewski. He told him, let's pressure up on top. Let him enter the ball from the side, the wing, where we can get help from the offside.
Here's another holding foul. This is going to be on Wojciechowski. And if they're going to call it that tight, Duke is going to have some problems trying to apply that pressure defense.
17 guys have fouled out against Mr. Duncan trying to check him. And you notice I call him Mr. When you're that good, I call him Mr. So I call you Mr. Patrick. You're star, I call you Mr.
Well, thank you. They're going to call him Mr. at the bank. I know that.
going to own the bank.
Duke already has 4 team fouls. Wake has been called for 1. Nice entry pass. Duncan scores.
Got those long arms, 6'10", but he plays so much bigger. Drew a great praise today from Mike Krzyzewski. He said, I don't think he gets away with anything with the referees. He just plays with poise, patience, and understanding.
Capel double clutches it, buries it anyway.
Jeff Capel has really stepped up. I told him he's gained my respect. He didn't pout and suck. The crowd booed him. He went through a little tough stretch early, lost his starting role, but just kept battling and battling, and ultimately earned his starting role.
We've got a timeout. Duke by 4 early from Winston-Salem. Rutland in the corner gets it out to Perall, who didn't start because of that missed team meeting. Duncan goes in, knocked away by Capel. Good defense.
It's really a mismatch inside size-wise, with Duncan being checked by guys like McLeod at 6'8". Newman on the sideline. Coach wants to keep him there until he really demonstrates he's going to play with a supreme effort.
I'd like to welcome everybody from our Big East game. Thanks to Mike Tirico and Dan Bonner. And here Braswell, with another poor decision, turns it over. Capel back for Duke.
That's what you want to really do, though. You want to push the ball up the floor and get there before Duncan sets up. You don't want to face them 5-on-5.
Wojciechowski with missing the 3.
Oh, they missed
Braswell. Woods was wide open.
Yeah, they missed him.
Got him this time. Woods forced it up and got it in.
They're just too big inside, Mike. You got a 7'1" being played by a 6'6", 6'10" being played by a 6'8". Greg Newton is going to have to be a factor here off that bench.
Woods has 5. Capel fouled on the way in. As he got to the hoop, he was fouled.
There's a look at Newton, second leading scorer, leading rebounder, sitting on a pine. Lauren Woods has become a factor. Look at his diaper dandy. Look at him down inside. There he is against Capel. Capel has no shot against him at 7'1" with his agility. He's going to be one of those really special players we talk about. Once he fills out, gets a little bit stronger, develops a little bit more stamina, gets into the weight room.
Lauren Woods picked up his first personal foul. He'll sit down.
Look at the commandment they have here. Thou shalt not enter thy lane. Teams shoot 33% against them. Only 22% in the last 5 minutes of a game. Teams are shooting against Wake. Sean
Allen comes in for the first time for Wake Forest. Here's the game summary. So far, the Blue Devils hitting 6 out of 10, including a pair of 3-pointers. Wake has missed only 1 field goal attempt. Capel would have missed, but there's an offensive rebound. The tip won't go. Duncan trying to get it back and finally does. Nate James had a couple of shots at it and couldn't score.
Nate James played well against Wake Forest earlier this year. He's missed so much time due to that injury to his thumb.
He is a very exciting player. Here's Capel. That'll be a foul on him as he tries to check Perall. Duke trying to play very physical on defense, and they're being called for the personal.
Well, they worked at practice today, and they really were concentrating on pressuring the basketball and trying to beat them with quickness and being a little wider, because they said we cannot beat them by being taller.
Duncan kicks it out to Amonette, a good 3-point shooter, but he missed this runner. Wojciechowski, nice dive, and he saved it. How many times does he hit the floor and come up with a big play?
He's a scrapper. That's why he's the leader and catalyst in my All-Rambo team.
James outside. He was looking for Capel. Capel went inside, and James made the pass anyway.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That's the problem he's having now, and learning the system and getting a rhythm and timing. He hasn't had a whole lot of repetitions. I guess that's a term they use in football.
That's right, exactly. And that's the one spot that's been a problem for Duke. They've played several guys at that swingman position, and nobody has really stepped up to claim it as their own.
Well, they got so much versatility at that area. Ricky Price on the floor now, played great against Georgia Tech. Came in, had 14 big points. See, that's what they worked on. Pressure the guy up on top.
Carrawell took it away from Duncan, gives it up to Trajan Langdon. Kicks it into the corner. Here's a 3. Just nicked the rim from Ricky Price.
Duke shoots the 3 more than anybody else in the conference. They're very effective from three-point land.
Duncan backing in. Great spin move. Had it knocked away. Sean Allen. And he traveled.
Sean Allen's really had it tough. I really feel bad for him. He's trying so hard. Lost his starting role to Lauren Woods. Had not been productive inside. Now watch this spin move on a baseline. He's setting him up with a little spin, the pin, tries to hurl, they deflect the basketball. You should have seen him in the second half. Brent Musburger and I could not believe it. He was sensational against Maryland.
Capel down the lane, fires it off the glass. It won't go. Duke keeps it alive. Carrawell, swish.
You got to make those jump shots, Mike. You become jump shot oriented against this basketball team.
Carrawell has hit 4, and it's 17-12 Blue Devils.
He's pumped up playing against his high school teammate, Lauren Woods. He's checking him right now. They won the high school state title last year in St. Louis.
This is the only way, really, to give Wake Forest fits is this pressure defense. Langdon knocked it away, and it's finally off Amonette out to Duke. The Blue Devils executing the defense they need to try to pull the upset, and they're up by 5. Top of Wake Forest, 17-12. We're in Winston-Salem, and Duke trying to break a 9-game losing streak against the Deacons. You have to go all the way back to 1928 to find a losing streak longer than that, and right now Duke has the upper hand because of that pressure defense that they're using.
Well, two things. The pressure defense has been effective, and they're making open shots. You better make open perimeter shots because Duncan's going to swat them away if you try to get it to the inside. So you got to bring the ball out to the perimeter, and you got to knock them down, and they're doing that early in the game.
Wojciechowski on the bench as we start this section. Capel working against Pearl, pulls up for the 3. It won't go for him. Lauren Woods back in the ball game, pulls down the rebound. Here's a steal in the backcourt.
Oh, great move.
Price, nice move, Ricky Price.
I think he's the guy, Mike, that has to start to give him positive minutes. He's athletic. You can run the court. He's got experience. You notice Mike's playing more and more of the experienced players now.
Rutland, great job to draw the foul. Nearly got the basket, too.
The foul is on Ricky Price.
Got Price up in the air.
Watch Ricky Price defensively right here. Strips the basketball. And not only does he strip it, he finalizes. Great spin inside. Puts it on a glass. Gets the deuce. I've seen him have so many special moments. Last year, he played exceptionally well, averaged 14 a game. This year, he's been up and down. His confidence has been up and down.
Wake Forest has committed 8 turnovers early in this ball game. Duke only 2.
Davey Odom's been concerned in the ACC with the play of his guards. They went through a stretch prior to the Maryland game where they were 11 for 40, talking Raswell and Rutland shooting the basketball. And then they had that disastrous shooting performance against Maryland, where they were 3 for 20 between them.
Rutland, his first 2 points of the game. Neither one of these guys are point guards. Both shooting guards being forced to play at that position.
And the one thing about Wake, they keep you in the game. I mean, they've had like 4 straight games, winning like by 3 points and going to the wire with Maryland. Their style, they don't come after the juggler. They play conservatively, they play well, and they execute.
McLeod, nice bounce pass, but nowhere to go inside. Capel kicks it back out to McLeod. McLeod, that's an up and down. Of course, with all this said, Dick, about what might be wrong with Wake Forest, they are 18-1. They lost only 1 game on a 3-point shot that may have come after the buzzer.
Exactly. That's how good Mr. Duncan's been all year.
And in 5 days, they're liable to be the new #1 team in the country, so how critical can we be?
Well, we can't be critical. I mean, they just have a style. They believe in that style. It really works for them. And why change? That's Davey Odom's philosophy.
Woods knocked away. Great play by Carrawell.
He's played well, the Viper Dandy. Chris Carrawell hooking up against his teammate Lauren Woods tonight. He's all pumped up. He's pumped up at the shoot-around.
Carrawell has 6. The lead has grown to 7 as we approach the 10-minute mark.
What a high school team they must have had to have 2 guys like that playing high school last year.
Duncan and Pearl helping out on the press.
I think Pearl's got to look for his shot more. Second in the nation last year shooting the 3-point shot.
He only averages 5.5 shots a game all year long. Rutland bricks that one. Braswell with an offensive rebound. Duncan, and there's Pearl wide open for 3. Holy cow, he hit the top of the back.
Wow.
Are you kidding?
Shot 51% last year from 3.
Langdon has to kick it back outside. Capel banks it home.
I tell you, you see so much confidence in his game right now, Jeff Capel. He's like a new player as they get a TO, baby. Mike Krzyzewski's got his club ready. They want to end that 9-game schneid. They ended 7 games in a row, but if they had lost to North Carolina.
Jeff Capel has 9, and that's the current spread at 23-14.
See, that's one of the things they worked on today. Pressure the ball on top. And there's the steal, and there's the conversion. And now Capel's going to square his body. He's going to utilize the glass, something John Wooden used to teach down at UCLA. Not a lot of guys use that glass from that angle.
Jeff Capel in his last 6 has nearly doubled his scoring average. His field goal percentage has skyrocketed, and Dick, you're right, he is showing so much more confidence.
I want to issue a bulletin to all college coaches. Stay away from his brother Jason, one of the top juniors in America, because when it's all said and done, Jason will play for his dad at Old Dominion. That is going to be a fact. Believe me when I tell you, he's not going to leave Daddy.
Braswell, nice penetration, got the roll. Jerry Braswell with his first 2.
Jerry Braswell, a little drive, taking it down the lane. Braswell and Rutland had some great games earlier, and then they went to that little slump. When they play well, they're unbeatable. I mean, they're flat out unbeatable.
Dick, this has got to remind you a little bit of the old Duke teams with that pressure defense, the hustle, the key shooting. Capel with a left hand, just nicked the front of the rim. Duncan with another rebound.
They just don't have the star player that they had in those other Duke clubs. When you talk Grant Hill, Leitner, and Hurley, they had stars. Right now, they got some very good players.
Duncan goes down the lane, held on the way down by Capel.
I'll tell you an interesting fan here tonight. An interesting fan. Mike Krzyzewski's daughter, Lindy, goes to Wake Forest University. But Mike said today she loves Wake Forest, but she loves her father a heck of a lot better.
Good choice.
There she is. There she is. It's quiet right now. Her sister Debbie's going to be getting married. Her sister Jamie's playing a basketball game tonight and is not here. Is with her mom, Mickey.
Duncan goes to the line to shoot 1-and-1, better than a 68% free throw shooter. And out of that timeout, after Dave Odom talked to them, Wake came out with a little bit more intensity on that sequence there.
He was 1 for 4 in the first half against Maryland. Maryland played brilliantly. They executed their game plan. The second half, I never seen him play so possessed. He scored 25 and would not allow them to lose. He had the heart of a champion.
He can smell the prize at the end of the line.
They got to get Langdon some shots. They're not getting Langdon any looks at all.
Wojciechowski wide open, can't hit the 3.
See, Wojo's got to reverse that. He's got to create with penetration and get Trajan Langdon some shots. I mean, you're looking at the best shooter in the ACC. He hasn't taken a 3 yet.
Better than 50% from long range. Braswell, nice job to get by Wojciechowski, missed the shot. And here is a foul on Duncan underneath, trying to follow.
Duncan looks at the official. He says, you can't be serious. Mr. Hess, you can't be serious. They're going to watch him climb it back. He never gets in foul trouble. That's the one thing. He's so poised. There he is, over the top. Ooh, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
Capel may have gotten a break there as he had inside position on Duncan, but a lot of times position means nothing against Duncan.
See, dribble at the top 2, kick it to the wing, or reverse it with a skip pass, and you'll get the shot against the zone.
3 out of the corner by Rashawn McLeod. He has 5.
Good ball movement, good reversal, and they overloaded against the zone. If you overload 3 against 2 on that side of the floor, you're going to get a good shot.
Rutland coming in playing point guard, had only 2 more assists than he did turnovers on the season.
They got to bang the ball inside of Duncan. He's being played by an inexperienced freshman right now. Bring it to the big guy.
Duncan wheels in behind a double team and scores. 6 for the All-American.
Got to take advantage of that. That's an M&M mismatch.
Langdon, he'll be fouled by Braswell.
I tell you, the action in the ACC, you and I were talking off the air, how every game turns to be a big game. Every game, no matter what game you do, you say, wow, it's a big game.
It happens when you have 4 teams in the top 10, as the ACC does now. Duke leading in the first half. On top of Wake Forest by 6, 7:27 to go in the first half.
Well, Mike, they're going to attack the zone. Zone means this. They're playing an area of the floor, and the zone will move with the basketball. Watch how Duke's now going to try to reverse the basketball and beat the zone. Swing it side by side. Freeze it. Freeze it right here. There's the jump shot.
Field goal shooting, 50% for Duke. Wake with 10 fewer shots, hitting 58%.
What they did is overload to that corner and got McLeod that shot on the baseline side.
Nobody has shot better than 38 points, or 38.8% against Wake Forest this year. Duke is doing it right now. 8 points for Rashawn McLeod. He's hit a pair of threes.
He's starting to become a star player. Transfer from out of St. John's. It's hard to believe he didn't get a lot of PT when he played at St. John's. He's lost 5 in a row. Lost to the Fighting Irish the other day in Notre Dame.
And Duke is doing exactly what it has to do if it wants to press. They're making shots.
See, Duke wants to pressure the ball on top because they don't want that to happen. The high-low entry. They want to put more pressure on the passer up on top and make them bring the ball to the wing so they can get help side from the offside.
Trajan Langdon went for the steal, didn't get it. Wojo open momentarily. 3-guard offense for Mike Krzyzewski. Still has not played his center, Greg Newton.
What a message he's sending to Mr. Newton. He's got to really be unhappy with Newton. Knowing he's playing against a 7-1 and a 6'10", and he's keeping him on the pond.
Shot clock at 6. McLeod double clutch and hit it over Duncan. How about that?
Rashawn McLeod's got to make his high school coach really smile. Bob Hurley. He's the first transfer they have taken at Duke under Mike Krzyzewski.
Rashawn McLeod averaging 12 points a game, really stepping up tonight.
He's really stepping up in the big games. You need that kind of player that you can go to make the big shot for you. Harrell inside, trying to match up against that size. He's really working hard defensively against Duncan.
Braswell double clutch in the lane, got the roll. Nice touch by Jerry Braswell, who has 4.
Braswell, a little penetration, gets into that lane.
His shooting touch has fallen off. He's down to 43% from the floor, but those are the ones that'll help your confidence.
Duke getting a lot of movement, a lot of ball movement, a lot of movement without the basketball, very active, trying to beat him in spots with quickness.
Langdon, who's a sophomore, plays like a senior. McLeod, good decision to get it out to Wojo. 10 on the shot clock.
Good defense by Wake, really stepping it up.
Capel for 3 short. Kept alive. Great play by Carrawell. And an offensive foul called on Capel.
Carrawell's really played well here in the first half, both offensively, and his efforts really been super defensively.
Duke sends Capel, Price, and Nate James into the game in a wave.
Look at this, Rashawn McLeod trying to take it right at the All-American, little jump stop. And there's the rotation. Usually that's Rejection City back in your face for a little sandwich. There's McLeod, last 3 games, 17.79 rebounds, almost a double-double. Came out of a really super high school program, St. Anthony's.
We have not seen Tim Duncan's shot blocking ability so far tonight. He has 1. He needs 1 more to tie the NCAA mark set by Alonzo Mourning. 453 career.
And the kid that really may catch them all is Donald Foyle, having a phenomenal year down at Colgate. As you look at Newton sitting there, he didn't know he was going to be an assistant coach. He said, I thought they had enough assistant coaches with Snyder and O'Toole and Amica. Here's the captain, Mike Krzyzewski, former West Point cadet, played for the General Bobby Knight. As a point guard, a lot of coaches, I was saying last night, you see all these coaches, Rick Pitino, you talk about guys like Larry Brown, George Carl, Eddie Fogler.
There was a question as to who had picked up that last foul. The officials finally cleared up. They give it to Capel. It's his 3rd. There's Tommy Amaker. Speaking of assistant coaches who are going to be great head coaches one day, I think Tommy Amaker is ready.
He gets a lot of PR, I can tell you that. He's got a lot of PR and a lot of great assistants in this country. And he's one of them. There's that zone now. Gotta get right in the gap, gotta get good spacing. Use the skip pass. The zone has a tough time adjusting to the skip pass.
Carrawell gives it up to Price. Nice move to get by Perall and fouled by Perall.
Ricky Price has really played aggressively the last 2 games offensively.
foul.
The ESPYs presented by GM and No Fear. Our awards include Performers of the Year in Pro Baseball, Basketball, Hockey, and College Football, plus the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. That's Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and the pregame show begins at 7:30.
When I think of the ESPY Awards, I always think of Jimmy Valvano's electrifying speech when he was a recipient of the Arthur Ashe Award.
Never give up.
And he said simply, cancer can take away my physical abilities, but it can't touch my heart, my soul, or my spirit. And the V Foundation has grown from that event.
Price hits them both. Ricky has 4.
There's the full court pressure. See now, size is not a factor. Speed and quickness becomes a factor when you utilize the full court. Once you get into the half-court area, then the size takes over.
Price against Braswell. The lead is 9. Duke has been in control the entire way. Rojo trying to deny Rutland, and then it's all over.
Peralt's got to start to look for some shots with his size. Nice pass. Side.
Duncan got a hand on it, couldn't hold it. And that is the 10th turnover against Wake Forest.
You mentioned the ESPY Awards. He's going to be at the ESPY Awards. He's one of the nominees along with Allen Iverson and Marcus Camby for Player of the Year.
The pressure is on at Wake as they are trailing the Duke Blue Devils at home.
Is giving Illinois a real battle. Evan Eschmeyer kicks it down low right there to Joe Harmson, who lays it in. The lead is only 2 for the Illini. Back to Winston-Salem.
33-24. Duke over Wake Forest by 9 with 3:57 to go in the half. Deacons shooting lights out. They're just not getting that many shots as they've turned it over 10 times. And Duke is playing exceptional defense, and they are hitting the buckets they have to hit.
Well, sometimes size is overrated if you got good athletes and they play with quickness and they play aggressively. And that's what we're seeing tonight out of the Duke kids early. But remember, Wake is a great come-from-behind team. They were 9 down against Florida State. They've been down a number of times, 16 to Maryland. They were down against Virginia.
Nate James called for the travel as he goes down the lane. Lauren Woods will come in, and Goolsby will go out for Wake.
They've had a number of times they've had a battle from behind in the first half all year long. That's a sign of a great team. It shows that you got a lot of character, but sometimes that catches up to you. Like Kansas last night. They've been in a lot of tough battles,
yes,
but ultimately it catches you. But remember this, they're still the best team in America if they're at full force. They're playing without Scott Collins, 6'11".
Number 1 and number 3 lose last night. Number 2 trailing tonight. Here's Peralta, loaded Duncan, who has 8 points. Back to Peralta, back to Duncan, double teamed. Didn't get the roll, had his own rebound, and makes sure this time.
You know, he's being checked inside, 6'8", and then at times 6'5". Wallace, he should have a field day on the interior.
This is the time I think he ought to become a little greedy. Price for 3. Peralta with a rebound.
I think Peralta's the guy that's got to get greedier and start to look a little bit for his shot. He's a great long-range shooter. See, look at his size here. He's just got to get in the lane. They got to get some passing angles. Woods being checked by Langdon. Are you serious? Woods being checked by Langdon. Look at that inside. That's like
Langdon will be called for the hold.
That's like Danny DeVito trying to check Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, wow. Here's Duncan now inside. He wants the ball down in deep. He's going to spin into the lane. Going to get it back, turn in the lane, misses, but now here comes the offensive rebound. There's that quickness, and there's the jam. Now look at Langdon guarding Woods here. Look at this. Look at this. We're looking at 6'3", guarded 7'1".
Duncan will go to the line, and Taman Domzowski has come in for the Duke Blue Devils. He missed 13 games with bad knees. Woods to the line instead of Duncan. Hits the free throw. Domzowski, there was a question whether he would be able to play this year. Underwent rehab, and now he is back in his first game. This guy could give them a lift. He's a very physical inside player.
First time he's playing since December 11th when he played against Villanova in that big win they had up in Philadelphia.
Woods with that nice soft touch rolls that one home. And here come the Deacons.
And here come the screaming Deacons. And the Wade Wackos. They're going to start to get loud here. Duke's got to attack this zone with patience. Overload. Not going to take people one-on-one. The zone just stands and stares at you. Going to move the basketball.
This is Langdon, shot clock down to 12, and Langdon, the best three-point shooter in the ACC, showed you a quick release on that one.
He's got the great range, and when he squares his body and gets the good look, it's like automatic. He's pure on his shot.
He is money. That's his first 3 points.
Also plays professional baseball. San Diego Padres chain, third baseman. Won't get too many shots with Ken Caminetti there, I can tell you that. He's going to move position.
Woods, double team, puts it up, got it back. Duncan took it away from him. Duncan puts it up, got the bucket. Mike Krzyzewski wanted a 3-second violation. Also wanted a jump ball, didn't get either.
That was a great effort, though, by Duncan on the inside. This crowd now starting to get a little bit into it.
12 points, 5 rebounds for Tim Duncan. The lead's been cut to a half dozen. Capel with a runner, short, got it back. Langdon just lost it on the way up, and Wojo is there.
Playing with 3 perimeter people, Duke. Langdon, Capel, and Wojciechowski.
Lost control on the way up. Domzowski kept it alive and stepped on the end line.
They just want Domzowski to give him some presence inside, some physical presence, some size. As a space eater, as you look at the Demon Deacon, screaming Deacons, they call them. They're not screaming now, though.
Duncan will inbound against the press.
His disposition always is the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. Whether they win, lose, it is the same at all times.
And it's not lack of intensity either.
No, he has his own way of being intense. He wants to win. He's very unselfish.
You look at the stat sheet after a game, see how intense he was.
I really love this guy.
Oh, nice move by Woods. Couldn't make it get in and knocked out of bounds. It'll be out to Wake. So many times this year, Woods has made a great move only to see the ball just roll off the rim.
Well, what he should do there, Mike, he's got to learn to take it, be quick and jam it. He's got to jam it with the left hand instead of just playing with it at 7-1. He's got to take it up and jam that baby.
Here comes the 3 out of the corner from Rutland. Offensive rebound to Braswell. Wake being much more aggressive.
The three-point shot has not been there for Wake tonight. Good perimeter defense by Duke.
Domzowski really goes after Duncan, and the All-American tries to take him at the baseline. Can't do it. Woods goes to the floor, out of bounds, out to Duke. The intensity really picking up here in the final 5 minutes of the first half. Coming up on the Delta Faucet halftime report, we'll show you how Baylor is doing against 6th-ranked Iowa State, Penn State against number 4 Minnesota, first half mismatch, and an SEC update with Chris and Digger.
Hey, you can watch Minnesota slide up to number 1 if everybody gets beat. They're having an unbelievable year down there in Golden Gopher Land, and not a lot of people talk about them.
Duke working for the last shot. Trajan Langdon with a long 3, won't get it. Braswell got it to Woods, contact, offensive foul called on Woods with 1/10 of a second to go in the hand.
Nick Capel with the ball. Woods tried to make the ball. There's the calm, cool Davey Odom, 3 times Coach of the Year in the last 6 years. He's been a National Coach of the Year. We're going to see Woods trying to make a guard. He puts his head down. That's number 1. Wojo gets the position, then draws the contact.
And they're saying that 1/10 of a second is not there any longer. The half is over. Tim Duncan, 12 points, 5 rebounds, but his team is down by a half dozen at the half. That's our story from Winston-Salem. Let's check in with Chris and Digger.
Mike, thank you. Tim Duncan had a double-double.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Chrysler and the cab-forward sedans of Chrysler. What's new in your world? And by the Coors Light wide-mouth can. Tap the Rockies with a smoother pour.
Welcome back to Winston-Salem, where the Duke Blue Devils hold a 36-30 halftime lead over Wake Forest. And you can be sure of one thing: when you come in to play the Demon Deacons, you are not going to make a living inside. Duke knew it came in tonight having to play exceptional defense and having to shoot very well from the outside. They're doing both.
They're really doing that well, and they're protecting the basketball. Only had 5 turnovers. They've made 5 trifectas, which is certainly big. We're going to see one of them right now. Vertical screen going to be laid by Carwell. We're going to watch him as he's going to go down in this area and set a screen here. We're going to see it coming up. Now watch Carwell go down. He's going to lay a screen for his buddy Capel. Right here. Freeze it. There is the screen. He screens it. He'll step out to the line. He'll reverse the ball, and that baby's going into the net. This Jeff Capel had a big half and 9 big points, squaring his body, and they show why they're the best three-point shooting team in the ACC. And now we take a look at the All-American. All Rolls-Royce inside, showing his mobility, agility, and the mismatch with size, as Duke has nobody big enough to challenge him on the interior. There he is working on the glass, takes it up with second effort, at 12 points in the first half.
And here's the story. Duke with only 8 points inside, 25 from the perimeter. Can they do it again in the second half? That's a lot of pressure to have to make all those outside shots.
Well, the one good thing, Mike, they only had 1 3 out of Langdon, who's capable of going on a real spurt. The second thing, though, is Wake Forest is a really strong comeback team. They went down to Florida State by 13, 9 with Virginia. They went down 16 to Maryland and always found a way to get in a winner's circle.
Very comfortable with pressure. Wojciechowski's shot clock down to 5. He's got to do it on his own against Braswell. McLeod, shot clock at 1, had to force it up. Duke keeps it alive. Offensive rebound to Carrawell. Capel kicks it out. Trajan Langdon. Short on the jump of the rebound to Woods. Double team. Stolen by Langdon. The 12th turnover.
Langdon's got a lot of strength to his body. He's not a frail player. He's very strong.
Duke showing much more intensity. And here's an offensive foul on Rashawn McLeod for setting a pick. That will be his 3rd. And that got Mike Krzyzewski up.
And just remember, Greg Newman has played Zippo. Hasn't got off the pine. He has sat on the pine the entire first half. Their second leading scorer, leading rebounder.
Mike Krzyzewski didn't let him start the North Carolina game.
But he played right away when Swickler and company were hurting him on the inside.
And played well. Then came back against Georgia Tech and didn't please the coach again. Braswell for 3. Big shot.
Well, that's got to happen. They got to have that part of their arsenal. They got to get some perimeter play out of Braswell and Rutland in terms of putting some point production.
The lead is 3. McLeod with Duncan on him.
You got to have balance offensively to be a great basketball team.
McLeod trying to spin on Duncan. Nothing there. Capel out of the corner. Perall got there late, and Capel buries the 3.
Well, the defense rotated a step too slow, and Capel, who's shooting with a lot of confidence, was 4 for 8 in the first half.
Capel has a dozen. The lead is back to 6.
His dad's got to be so proud of the way he bounced back.
Reach in by Langdon and took it away on a pass that was badly telegraphed.
They had the skip pass. Capel was wide open.
McLeod hits the 3. Rashawn has 13 points. The lead is 9.
He's a big-time shooter for a 6'8 player. He can step to that perimeter. Look at the three-point shooting tonight. 47% for Duke, 39 for the season, which is pretty good to lead the ACC.
Wake Forest, the other outstanding three-point shooting team. Duncan low, backing in now, wheels into the lane.
Unstoppable if he gets his back to the basket, and he can sit in the post, and they have no one to challenge him down inside.
42-35, Capel, nice move, got it back to Langdon, made sure he was behind the three-point line, but then missed.
Smart play by Capel. That ball would have been rejected had he taken it to the goal. Duncan had the perfect angle for the block shot.
Wojciechowski right now is on Duncan. He says, hey, somebody come here and help.
That's really unbelievable. Little Wojo trying to play.
It's something to give up 4 or 5 inches, but a foot and a half may be too much. Braswell gets the bounce.
Well, Braswell stepping it up offensively. That should open up some passing lanes. The Screaming Deacon fans, the Screaming Deacons is trying to get it in the way west.
Braswell now has 9. That's his season's average.
Ray Wackos are a little quiet up there in white. There's Wojo. He's a little general on the floor. He's their leader. Some say the MVP of this club this year.
Capel trying to go around Perall. Look at Duke hustle again. Carrawell, and then he drives the baseline and draws the foul.
What a great play by the freshman. I mean, he don't care. He's, come on, big fellas, try to get a piece of this rock. I'm going to take him right to the goal. Hey, remember what's at stake for Wake. They could be #1 in America if they can win here today at home They beat Missouri on the road for the first time in the history of the school.
And the foul on Lauren Woods, his third.
He said, but that's my buddy. I played in high school with him. I can't block his shot. He's my buddy. We got gold rings together, high school state champs. What a high school team. And they also had a year where they played with Ivy White.
Carrawell misses the first. He has 6 points tonight.
There's the brain trust. Ernie Nestor, outstanding assistant, along with Ricky Stokes, who does a heck of a job. Remember when Stokes played in the backcourt at Virginia? Terry Holland, Davey Odom was an assistant.
Carrawell hits the second shot.
And there's a look at Newton sitting on that sideline. Davey Odom, who worked for years under Terry Holland, who was really such an outstanding, quiet kind of leader. He was a great administrator now. Terry, one of the class guys in intercollegiate athletics.
Wake Forest, for one of the few times you see him with some up-tempo action, and then Duncan will get the foul trying to follow the shot.
The kid that's not shooting the ball well, Mike, is Ricardo Perral. Perral's a tremendous shooter, was second in the nation last year at 51% from three-point range. He's short-arming his shots. He's not shooting them with the confidence, and he's a good-looking shooter. This Duke, good execution today out of their half-court offense.
McLeod trying to use his quickness against Duncan, but Duncan's not bad in that department either.
What they like to do is penetrate and pitch. They like to penetrate and pitch it out.
McLeod tries to jump hook for all with a rebound.
He tried to make like Kareem with a little jump hook. Followed a shot.
Rutland for three, won't go. Price got a hand on it, couldn't hold it.
I think it's amazing how Duke is really surviving thus far with a lot of good athletes, versatile athletes.
They're getting the good looks and knocking down the outside shots. College basketball tomorrow on ESPN. 13th ranked Michigan against Wisconsin. That's a 7:30 start, followed by number 21 Tulane against number 12 Cincinnati at 9:30. Then after SportsCenter, you'll see Nevada against Long Beach State, midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, what a shootout. That'll be Honeycutt versus Fortson. Fortson coming off that suspension. Hey, Honeycutt had 38 the last time he was in Cincinnati against Xavier. He was sensational. He may be the most versatile player in that Conference USA.
Greg Newton into the game for the first time.
Wow, gonna get some PT now. Playing time.
You can bet he'll be out there playing just as hard as he can, too. Duncan against Newton. Tough cross-court pass. Here's Perral. Missed a little short pull-up jump.
He short-armed it again. Defense rotated over, hesitated. Hey, remember, Newton was the guy that said that Duncan was kind of soft. I don't think Duncan appreciated those comments about a year ago.
Well, he retracted it after the next time.
Oh, he did? Oh, look at it, wide open. Got the lane.
They left Capel all alone. Capel kicks it out to Wojciechowski.
Got a good look on the top.
Wide open, Capel.
I'll tell you, so unselfish. Capel could have shot that. He makes the one extra pass, and they get a better look from Capel, who's a good long-range shooter.
The lead is back to 9. 14:36 to go. Duke trying to break a 9-game losing streak against Wake Forest.
Bottom line has come down to shooting the trifecta.
Duncan, nice move against Newton.
He says, hello, Newton. Welcome, baby. Take me inside. Am I soft, baby?
Not much Newton could do about that one. 16 for the All-American center.
Well, you traded threes against 2.
Capel dumps it off to Newton, and Newton gets his first bucket.
That's got to be good for his confidence. If Duke is going to be a major factor in the NCAAs, Newton's got to be a very important part of their team. So maybe the message will work this time.
Lauren Woods, nice spin move down low, and he got away from Capel to get his 9th point.
So agile on the inside. He's got the mobility, the agility, just got to get a little bit more strength. The game is starting to pick up a little bit now, Mike. The rhythm, the timing, the execution.
Capel, who's got the hot hand, that's a 2. Had a toe on the line, otherwise he'd have had back-to-back three-pointers.
He's played a little up and down this year, which is expected for young people, but he's got good athletic ability and good skill.
Braswell bounced that one off his foot. Here comes Price. Good bounce pass to Capel, the bucket and the foul.
Great execution in transition. Jeff Capel, McLeod loves it on the sideline. I'll tell you, Jeff Capel is a new player. He really has gained the respect of his coaches, his teammates, his fans. I mean, this kid could have sulked and pouted. He could have complained. Here's Ricky Price giving it off to his buddy. He said, hey, buddy, we're experienced. I'll go between my legs. I'll hang. I'll twist. I'll kiss it on a glass.
The foul was on Perall, and the Duke bench explodes.
I tell you, they're going to be tested tonight, Wake, to come back this time. Davey Odom and his kids have been miracle workers to come back as he gets the timeout. There's trouble, baby, in Winston-Salem. Hey, Mike, you and I were talking. I got an interesting scenario. If they lose here today, Kansas has been beaten, Kentucky's been beaten. Who is number one?
Kansas.
Yeah, I agree with you if they could turn around and beat Iowa State. But let's say they get beat by Iowa State. Minnesota's going to jump up into that notch there. There's a look at Kentucky. They got a date with Villanova this weekend, and I got a feeling Villanova's going to start to put some numbers together. They're just too talented. They got 3 outstanding players.
I still think Kansas and Wake Forest are a cut above everybody else.
I don't think there's a doubt about it. I would put Kentucky there if they had their full cast.
Capel missed the shot. Contact underneath with Newton and Woods. The ball goes out of bounds. There has been no call from an official as yet. And now they're saying it's out of bounds to Duke.
You know, getting back to Kansas, I was talking to Mike Krzyzewski today, and we were talking about the loss of Scott Pollard, how so big that is. The one good news up in Jayhawk, man, is he will be back.
He'll be back, right.
Rebounder, a guy that can block shots, give him some double-figure scoring on the inside, compliment LaFrentz.
They played so well without him. Braswell beating the pressure of Price.
Tim Duncan's going to have to be all world right now at the end of this game here in the last 13 minutes to get his club a win here tonight.
52-41, approaching the 13-minute mark. Perall back in the game. Nice entry pass to Duncan with a punctuation mark.
Well, he did a great job of holding off Newton. Newton didn't get any help from the help side, and Duncan had him sealed off perfectly.
The crowd really getting into it, too.
Well, they got to make some stops defensively. They got to lock up on a perimeter.
Capel guarded by Goolsby. This is Carrawell to Price. Wide open from 15 feet.
I'll tell you, Mike, they are really a good basketball team. They're one player away from being a great team, but this Duke team is playing outstanding defensively and offensively.
Great drive, the bucket, and the foul, and Rutland hits a big one.
We're seeing great basketball right now in the last 5 minutes. We're going to watch Duncan posted inside. We're going to watch Duncan right now. He's going to lock on the interior. He's going to hold him off on the inside. He's going to seal to the baseline. He holds him off with the left hand, catches it to the right, and there's the jam. And now we're going to watch right here the drive to the goal. There's the little drive and the kiss. Count it.
That was pretty by Rutland, and he hits the three-point play. 5 points for Rutland. Newton gets a breather after playing rather well in his only appearance of the night.
Big three-point play by Rutland. Used to team up with Iverson in high school. Allen Iverson out in Virginia. Foul on Rutland.
Called for the hold. That'll be 1 on Rutland.
There's a look at Davey Odom, very poised on that sideline as well. Used to work at the 5-star basketball camp. Used to run the camp for Howard Garfinkel. So many coaches have come out of that camp situation.
Price looks rejuvenated tonight, the way he's moving with the ball.
He was that way against Georgia Tech, playing with a purpose. I think it's rubbing off what's happened to Capel, how he's bounced back.
The lead is 8. Whistle and a foul inside, a holding call. As they were trying to get the ball to Duncan, and Duncan couldn't get away.
Is that McLeod before? Did they get McLeod?
4 on Rashawn McLeod.
That's really big. Newton's got to play now when McLeod has to come out. There he is trying to play him inside. He's trying to, I mean, there's no doubt he's pushing and hugging and grabbing. I mean, there's no doubt about it, Mike. You can't complain about that.
Tough assignment for McLeod at 6'8", 220 against Duncan. Duncan, 8 of 10 from the floor. Duke has led by as many as 11 points tonight. Right now, they're up by 8. Tim Duncan trying to bring the Deacons back. They have a shot at the #1 ranking in the country, but they have to win tonight to get it.
They got a date on Sunday down there in Missouri and Columbia where they just beat Kansas. That'll be on ABC.
They go low to Perall, puts it up in the right hand and missed a point-blank shot. And position on Carrawell. Langdon for three. Wouldn't go. 3 Duke players corral it. Langdon finally comes up with it.
I'll tell you, you got to give Duke the edge today in terms of hustle as well. They're playing a little bit more aggressively.
They are quicker to the ball than the Deacons.
Well, they got those quick 6'5" athletes, swing players. Can play inside, outside. They invert them.
Under 11.5 minutes to go in the game. Shot clock down to 14. Wojciechowski against Rutland. This is Price. He's tough. Pull up, jump.
I'll tell you, it's going to be tough keeping him on a sideline. He's got that bounce in his legs again. He's got that spark. He's got that real spark that he now wants to contribute.
Ricky Price has 8. The lead is back to 10.
And that's coming off a 14-point performance against Georgia Tech.
Wake Forest has had so many of these games. They seem to be very comfortable in a come-from-behind position, but they're making it harder on themselves. 15 turnovers.
They're getting into a hole. Duke's getting very good penetration. There's another example. Duke convert.
Good defense there by Perall as he checked Terrell while on the left side of the lane.
They got Domzowski now on Duncan. You got to go to him right now.
Nice finger roll by Tim Duncan.
Well, he's too quick for Domzowski, especially the fact that you're looking at Taman now, has not played since December 11th. What a way to come back. If you welcome to college basketball, play the best player in the country.
Here's the steal. Just another day at the office for Duncan. He has 20. It's a 2-on-2.
They got to go to him.
Duncan was down there, and Rutland didn't get him the ball. Instead, they try the alley-oop to Perall and throw it away.
That was not smart. Not good ball management there. You got Duncan against a 6'6", 2-on-2 situation.
Goolsby is in against Price.
Goolsby really played well in the first meeting, had 12 points, made some big threes. In fact, they hit 7 out of 8 threes in the second half against Duke in that game.
Trajan Langdon working for his shot. Offensive foul. I think Domzowski.
This is a tough way to be welcome back to college basketball. You haven't played in almost 2 months, and there you're coming back, and there's Newton sitting on the sideline, McLeod out with 4 fouls.
Especially since he's had the bad knees, hasn't been able to do anything. And the turnover story killing Wake Forest 16-8.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, Duke, protecting the basketball and getting the high percentage shot. Look at Wojo playing defense on the ball. I mean, there's a little guy who puts a lot of pressure on a basketball, and that's what Mike wants out of their point guard. Disrupt their offensive rhythm.
Perall being guarded by Capel. Look how far out on the court they're running their offense.
And that was one thing they practiced today. Let's push them out and get them away from the basket.
Shot clock is down to 7. Rutland. Wojciechowski knocked it away. Goolsby.
Oh, what a
huge shot by Goolsby.
I'll tell you, that's a big one. The Screaming Deacons will love that one, baby.
He had to get control of that ball on the way up and buried it. Capel back the other way. Goolsby with defense.
Capel wanted to foul. He says, come on, he got on my elbow. Come on, he got on my elbow. Look, come on. Come on, Tommy Lopes, give me a break. One timeout.
Mike Krzyzewski takes a 20 with 8:55 to go. You can't say enough about what Goolsby did. The shot clock is running down. When he got that ball, it didn't look like he had control of it. He knew he had to shoot, immediately got control on the way up, then buried the shot, comes down to the other end, and makes the defensive play.
I'll tell you one thing, that was a big momentum builder. Here he is right now. The ball comes over to him at the top of the circle. He clutches it. I mean, that is just almost like a throw that maybe to go down. Out of Rutland's hands.
Now watch Goolsby. Well, you can't see it from that angle, but he had the ball under his hand, had to turn it all the way up, get control while he's in the air, and then still drilled it.
I don't know about you, Mike, but I feel a little run coming on now by Wake Forest.
The lead is down to 5.
Remember, the last 5 minutes of the game, teams only shoot 22% against them.
Perall has missed so many shots inside tonight.
Yeah, short arming every shot.
Here's Duncan trying to drive the baseline all the way underneath, and he's fouled.
Duncan's almost perfect tonight from the field. He's like 9 for 11, having a big first half and a second half. There he is. The rest of the team's 11 for 23. Now he's trying to offer some confidence for Ricardo Perall. He says, come on, Ricky, you're a good player.
The foul was on Domzalski, his second non-shooting foul. Braswell trying to hit the runner. Doesn't get the roll. Duncan keeping it alive. Look at the hustle. That may be a foul on Duncan. No, the ball's out of bounds to Wake Forest. I thought Duncan got away with a push.
I think they got to isolate Duncan now inside and let them pay. Trying to check him inside. Newton on the floor now, trying to give Duke some size and experience.
You can feel the momentum swinging slightly toward Wake, but only slightly.
Well, the one thing Duke has as part of its weaponry, they knock down a three, they get momentum right on their side. That three-point shot is an equalizer.
Braswell guarded by Price. This is Rutland.
Trying to get angles to get the ball inside to Duncan. See Duncan pointing, trying to get angles. It's so important to good angles in basketball.
Newton will pick up the fouls. He tried to reach around and get the ball away from Duncan.
Mike, if they get the ball on the top of the circle, they work today, Duke, to try to stop the ball from up on top. Try and stop reversal. There's Newton trying to work physically against Duncan inside. Duncan's a lot stronger than what his body looks like. I can tell you that. There he is, working inside, trying to sit in the post, trying to seal, trying to get good position.
Timeout on the court. Back to Winston-Salem after this. Duke by 5 with 7:59 to go in the game. Wake Forest trying to cut into that lead. The numbers on Duncan. He is #1 in the ACC in points, field goal percentage, rebounds, and blocked shots. And as well, he leads his team in assists, 3.2 a game.
Well, he's come back with a purpose this year. His purpose has very been team-oriented. He wanted to be #1 in the nation, wanted to win the national championship. And those are the goals he has set forth. Well, they can get close to being #1. All they got to do is win the next two. And there it is, the lob up on top.
Nice set play out of the timeout. Rutland with a good lob. Duncan jams it. It's down to 3.
Got to go to the All-American. As we said, they can't match up. Now they got to lock up defensively on the perimeter.
Capel for 3. Missed the shot. The rebound to Goolsby.
Capel a good shooter, so that was a good shot that Duke got. Hey, this crowd's now getting live. Here come the screaming Deacons, and away the Wake goes.
Rutland signals the play, guarded by Wojo.
I'll tell you, Duncan really wants the ball against Newton. He really wants to get him inside.
And Newton commits the foul, his 3rd.
There's the lob. Rutland, look at the eye contact. There's the lob up on top to catch. Nobody threw the lob better than Sherm and Mr. Douglas when he played for Syracuse.
Check the foul total on Newton. It is 2. Duncan, who's a very good free throw shooter, misses the first. He'll get another.
We take a look at the paint and the perimeter. Obviously, you look at Duke, they're scoring more from the perimeter because that is the strength of their game. Wake scoring on the inside, so it's going according to book as he comes up empty on free throws.
Duncan only 2 out of 4 from the line tonight. Here's Price.
You really got to play good perimeter defense against Duke.
McLeod very short on the 3. Braswell with a long rebound.
Shot the ball too quickly. Let him take some time off the clock. Manage the clock a little bit, Duke, with that lead.
Goolsby with Capel on him. Duncan at the high post goes down the lane, drops it off for Perall, who wasn't expecting an out-of-bounds last touch, they say, by Duke.
Well, you know, Perall's got to get involved offensively. McLeod's checking him with 4 fouls. So now you got to take the ball right at McLeod. He should get open shots. He's 6'10", he's got long arms.
Ricky Perall has had a very tough offensive night. Only has 2 points. Has had several point-blank shots and missed them. 1 out of 6 from the floor.
There he is, going to go right to him. That's what I thought you'd do. Bring it inside.
See if that foul was before, or no foul, is 3-second violation. No, excuse me again. Offensive foul on Perall. He hooked him.
Nick Paparo with the call on a post move inside. They went to Ricky Perall, tried to take advantage of McLeod with 4 fouls.
The lead still 3 under 7 minutes to go.
Last 5 minutes, Wake Forest has been dynamite.
Capel and Duke has gone cold.
If you study and chart what Wake has done in the last 5 minutes of games, Mike, teams have only shot 10 for 46, 22% against them.
And got the bucket and drew the foul from Newton.
Hello, the All-American, showing everybody again why he is without a doubt Uno #1, the
24 points for Duncan. This would be 25 and would tie the game. No, Duke continues to lead.
He's 0 for 3 in his last 3 free throw attempts.
2 for 5 on the night. Capel, he'll draw the foul on Duncan, his third.
Capel took the ball right at Duncan. Duncan's only fouled out 1 game this year. That was up in Utah when he had the game in command. That's the only game he's fouled out of. Newton's had a rough last week, Mike. It's been a tough week for Greg Newton. He's just got to regroup. He's got to sit down with Mike Krzyzewski. He's got to tell him flat out, I want to be a vital part of this team down the stretch, and I'm going to bust my gut.
Capel with 15 points. He's 1 out of 2 from the line. His dad was an assistant coach here when Muggsy Bogues played. So he's on the front of the media guy just as a little kid looking up at Muggsy.
I'll tell you, his dad was the assistant to a head guy by the name of Bobby Stock, who was named head coach today with the Washington Bullets, replaced Jimmy Lynam, who I'd love to see to come to college. Jimmy was a great college coach at St. Joe's, a tremendous teacher, enthusiastic. Jimmy, you belong in college, baby.
57-55 under 6 minutes to go in the game.
Trying to double up out here.
Nice pass to Duncan, fouled on the way up. Capel immediately raises his hand.
Larry Williams' philosophy when we play Wake is we play him one-on-one. He's going to get his 25, 28, but we want to shut down the other 4 people.
Well, that's not bad, Dick, because even when you triple team him, he's going to get 20.
He's going to get his double-doubles. The only time he didn't have a double-double was against Wofford when they had the game totally in command, and he didn't even care. He had 10 points and 5 rebounds. Broke his big string that he had of 27 double-doubles. He's 0 for 4, though, Mike, on that line.
2 for 6. He's missed his last 4, and he's a much better free throw shooter than that. You could tell how upset he was. These are getting big now under 6 minutes.
And they can come back to haunt him now. They lose by 1 or 2. These 4 misses can be big. Tough to blame a guy who has carried you all night.
1-point game again. 25 for Duncan.
Timeout by Duke. Wake Forest trying win it again. Once again, one of their comebacks like they did with, well, Florida State, Virginia, and Maryland.
Wake's last 5 games have been decided by a combined total of 18 points. It's another night at the office. They're down by 1 with 5:48 to go. Tim Duncan trying to bring them back from the brink. By 1 over second-ranked Wake Forest, 5:48 to go. College basketball next Wednesday. You'll see number 10 Clemson against the second-ranked Deacons, 7 o'clock Eastern. That will be followed by a Big East matchup, Connecticut against Boston College at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Wake with a 2-game lead in the loss column over Maryland, Clemson, and Duke. Those 3 teams all in the top 10, tied for second place in the ACC standings, and they're all trying to get Duke or Wake Forest to come back to the pack.
Clemson trying to regroup. They got a big matchup. They've lost 3 out of 4 with Maryland at home. A game on Saturday.
Duke has not hit a bucket over 5.5 minutes until that one by Langdon.
Trajan Langdon can't get the good look tonight from the perimeter. Takes the ball to the basket. Shows some versatility. That's their first basket in a long time. The last field goal was at the 11-13 mark. They have missed their last 5 attempts. Here's Trajan Langdon showing that he can do more than just shoot for jump shot. Taking the ball up strong.
Foul on Peral was his 4th. Langdon, who averages 14 points a game, has only 5 tonight.
It's the old-fashioned 3 right there. He's a 90% free throw shooter. That was a big 3. They've been on a ropes. They needed that, baby.
60-56. Wake can get close, but they haven't had the lead since it was 5-3.
Now you got to go at Domzalski inside. Doesn't have the experience to check Duncan. He's physical. You can't check him inside. You got to bring it to him.
Domzalski over the top. Looked like a pretty good block. Must have gotten him with the body.
Well, that's a good foul, though. He had the dunk. Rather than give the dunk now, he's putting him at the line where he has went for his last 5 in terms of misses. They go to high-low entry inside. Look, trying to seal off. Now he's going to release. He's going to release to the basket. There's the spin. There's the recovery by Domzalski in a contact. Out of New Mexico, Albuquerque. What a team they got. Charles Smith and Kenny Thomas put the big hurt on Utah, 87-71. He's 4 for 8 from the line. He's missed 5.
3 for 8.
3 for 8.
He's really struggled tonight, and he's a very good free throw shooter. And each one he missed gets bigger. Got the second one. It's a 3-point lead. 26 for Duncan.
They need to stop out on the perimeter. You let Duke hang around. They knock down a big 3, a la Prophet style, who beat him here with that 3. There's some question when it was released. The bottom line is it counted. They're trying to penetrate and pitch. Penetrate and pitch. Not a good one.
McLeod, that was an ugly-looking 3-point shot that time.
That was Jersey City bound, baby, where he's from, out on the pavement.
4:45 to go. Rutland, tough shot off balance. Not a good shot by him. Got his own rebound. Goolsby. What a huge 3.
I'll tell you, he made some big threes in the first meeting when he scored 12. It was only 33-31 at halftime, and they knocked down 7 out of 8. And all the crowd has arrived here in Winston-Salem.
Goolsby has hit 2 monster threes. We're tied at 60.
And remember, at stake, they want to be #1 in America. All they got to do is win on their home turf here and win Sunday on ABC against Missouri.
Capel lost it out of bounds in the last 5 minutes of ACC games. Look at the Wake Forest defense.
Yeah, I mentioned that a little bit earlier, 22%, because they get a little bit more focused. They turn it up a little bit. That's what Ernie Nestor said, their assistant coach. He said they turn it up defensively.
Rutland inside to Duncan for Wall all alone. He finally hits a shot.
Oh, he finally finds the bottom of the net.
Ricky Perot with his first field goal of the half.
He's been struggle city all night long. Duke can't lose its composure now. They got a lot of experience on the floor.
Wojciechowski ties it.
Big shot by Woj. I don't think he looks at the basket enough, Mike. I really think he's too unselfish.
He is a tough kid who's willing to take the big shot. 3:28 to go. Tied at 62.
Look at a mismatch here. You got Carwell playing Duncan. He's got to slide inside, get him a screen, and just go to the rack on him. Perot's being played by McLeod with 4 fouls, so they're big people.
Goolsby again. Duncan tries to keep it alive. Wojciechowski got a hand on it. The ball hits the sideline, out to Duke.
I don't think that was a good possession right there by Wake. You got a situation where Chris Carwell, a freshman, at 6'6", is checking Duncan. You got Ricky Perot right there being checked by McLeod with 4, and he's shooting jump shots from the perimeter. Not a good possession by Wake. I'm sure Davey Odom would like to have that back again.
But once again, the hustle of Wojciechowski results in a Duke possession.
Well, he plays. He shows again. You don't have to be big to play this game. There's the penetration and the
McLeod for 3, and credit Capel with creating a wide-open shot.
Well, that was the PP square, baby. Penetrate and pitch it out. Penetrate and pitch it out.
16 for Rashawn McLeod.
The Dukies don't want to go away, Mike. I think this crowd expects them to go away. They don't want to go away.
Duke has hit 9 threes.
See, look at the mismatch inside. In terms of size. Playing on a perimeter with them.
Duncan, Goolsby, nice catch. Double team. Ball knocked out of bounds, and they rule last touch by Duke.
Well, you know, if you're Carroll, you got to like the fact that Tim Duncan wants to play 18 feet away and take you one-on-one because your quickness can sort of neutralize him. If I'm Tim Duncan, I want to slide into the low box inside.
Only 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Tough runner from the baseline. Rutland's got a little clutch in him, too.
Eddie Rutland with that big baseline jab. Another typical day at the office in the ACC. Welcome to the best conference in America with the best basketball in the United States. Right here down in ACC country.
1-point game, 2 minutes to go.
Every game, the emotion. Good man-to-man defense. They're really trying to lock up on the perimeter 3.
Capel has to... buried it anyway.
What a big jump shot by the experienced Jeff Capel. They're trying to end that stride. They've lost 9 in a row.
Capel has 17. Timeout Wake Forest with 1:39 to go in the game.
I say 9 in a row. I mean 9 in a row. They've lost due to Wake Forest. The last time they lost double figures in terms of consecutive games to a team was North Carolina when they lost 16 in a row, 1921 to 1928. Capel. Look at the focus right here. Having a big second half to his season, to his senior year. Stock going up, tickling the twine. In the end, nothing but nylon.
It is such a tough adjustment to be in the air for a jump shooter and to be able to adjust the ball and then still stroke it.
I'll tell you what you got to admire, Mike. He lost his job. He was on the sideline. And here it is. He battles himself back into the starting lineup. And he's not going to come out of that lineup the rest of the year.
3-point lead at 1.5 minutes. Braswell outside being checked by Langdon.
Now look at Carroll. You got to give that kid a lot of credit. There he is, a freshman inside, playing against Duncan head-to-head.
Rutland, nice drive, but the block by Carroll. Well, it came off of Duncan.
He came off Duncan. They should have slid and dunked it to Duncan. You had a dunk. You got to recognize those situations.
Now Duke will work on the clock with 1:08 left.
Off management right now. They're getting ready to celebrate down in Durham. They broke that schneid against North Carolina 7 in a row. Can they break this one when they've lost 9 in a row?
This is a huge possession, up by 3. Shot clock at 8.
Trying to set a screen. Oh, that's a good call for Duke because this kid is automatic on the line, Mike.
Langdon, a 90% free throw shooter, first in the ACC, 7th in the country.
Yeah, he's automatic. They tried to set an isolation for him as we're watching Rutland now. There's the rotation over by Carrawell. See, by him rotating over, you know Duncan's wide open.
Isn't that pretty?
You got to watch that kid. He's a freshman, stepping up the way he has defensively. Chris Carrawell.
Langdon, 1-1.
Automatic. I mean, it just doesn't. It's just automatic. Just watch his release. Watch the way the ball comes through the net.
The lead is 4. Langdon, who sat out all last year with a bad knee. The lead now 5.
2-possession game. So go for the quick deuce inside.
Braswell trying to penetrate, leans into one, and he's fouled.
There's another situation, not recognizing the wide open guy. You got a situation where Capel on a switch is playing against Duncan. There's a look at the longest losing streak, 16 in a row, North Carolina. That was the pre-Dawn, pre-Dean era around it. Dean was not even born at that time, 1921-28.
There were a lot of us that weren't born in 21 to 28.
I'm
not sure about you. Braswell goes to the line for critical free throws.
Yeah, big free throws. It stops the clock as well, which is a plus for Davey Odom.
His first trip to the line tonight, 77.8% free throw shooter. He had a broken bone in his left foot in the preseason.
Then he had a knee operation with that knee situation that he had in the ACC tournament last year. And they won that, beat Georgia Tech.
Well, that was Rutland.
Oh, that was Rutland. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Braswell had the foot. You're right.
Hits them both, cuts the lead back to 3, 69-66, under a minute to go in Winston-Salem. Duke lead with 41.4 ticks left on the clock. Wake Forest with a chance to be number 1, but they've got to get by Duke's really upset-minded Blue Devils. The last 9 meetings, Duke has shot 39%. Tonight, 46. The only team this year over 39% against Wake Forest.
Yeah, shooting about 33%, everybody against Wake Forest. As you said, Mike, the only team to get better than 40%. And the big threes early really have carried this Duke team. But it's also the job they have done defensively. They have really played well as a unit defensively.
Duke has played 11 men tonight, and they've all contributed one way or another.
Well, I'm going to go to a little full court pressure right now as you look at the setup, the alignment of Wake Forest.
Full court pressure.
Got to step to the basketball. Little guy's going to break the pressure, try to get him into a set, spread the court, get good spacing.
They want Langdon to have the ball, the 90% shooter.
Yeah, there's a guy you don't want to foul. They're just going to go 1-4 and let him dribble it. See, here's what that rule put in about 3 years ago really helps Duke. It's how do you get the ball away from him?
That was very close to being an offensive foul as Rutland was doing a heck of a job defensively.
Well, that was a great job of coaching, though, by Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, people want to know the little things that go on during that timeout. They isolate to a 1-4 set. They put the ball in Langdon's hands, and they said just dribble time off and draw some contact. You're right. Came very close to hooking him with an offensive foul.
If Rutland doesn't get that right arm in there first, he may draw the charge. The 2 free throws would make it a 5.2 possession game. You're going to need the threes.
This guy's, like we said, automatic 9 out of every 10 go down.
He's 3 for 3 tonight.
I mean, they're not even like any doubt.
No.
No doubt whatsoever. I mean, great executing here late in the game, putting the ball in the right hands of the right person. That's coaching. Knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing time, situation, clock, score.
Nothing's touched the rim yet. They need the threes. Rutland puts up a long one, won't go. Offensive rebound won't go to Duke. The Blue Devils with the ball. 12.2 seconds left, and they are on their way to breaking that 9-game losing streak and denying the Demon Deacons a shot at #1 for the first time in school history.
Well, not only that, they'll be winners now of 7 of their last 8 games. The only game they've lost in this stretch was to Maryland, 74-70. Mike said today, we're back to the standards that I want at Duke. And I'll tell you one thing, not only getting a win today, he may be getting a big man to join the party in Mr. Newton, because if he didn't get the message today that we are a basketball team, either with you or without you, we want you to be part of us, but you're going to comply to our situation, and that's to play hard every day.
18 points for Capel, who has been exceptional. Misses the second one.
Just don't want to foul. You don't want to stop the clock. Let it go through.
Braswell scores, calls time, but it is still a 4-point game. 2 possessions with only 6.2 seconds to go. We'll come back. No, we'll stay here. All right.
I'll tell you how Wake has a shot still to be #1 at the end of the week. Because of the toughness of the ACC, if Kansas were to get beat by Iowa State and Wake goes down and beats Missouri at the end of the week, they'll get my vote for #1, and I'll bet they get a lot of other people's votes for #1. Think about it, Mike. If Kansas loses to Iowa State, loses twice during the week, Wake Forest goes on the road and beats the team that beat Kansas, why wouldn't they be #1? Losing to Duke is not an embarrassment. It's a top 10 team.
I don't think Kansas is going to lose again. 72-68, Duke by 4.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by the car that makes waves, the new Eclipse from Mitsubishi, built for living, and by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
6.2 seconds to go. Duke on the way to wrapping it up and knocking off #2 Wake Forest, and actually getting to within 1 game of the lead in the loss column in the ACC.
Well, I think in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see so many teams get bumps and bruises, have some slides. You see Clemson going through a little slide right now, but they're so talented and deep, and they got such an outstanding basketball defensively as a team that they're going to bounce back. Duke went through a little slide earlier, and now they've regrouped. Florida State had a slide. I mean, this league, North Carolina's went through a little bit of a bump and bruise. They're going to beat each other up, Mike.
Well, when you have 4 teams in the top 10, you feel sorry for them because they're knocking each other off.
It was pretty good. Virginia right now, their backcourt at Indian State is really playing well. They got a big date coming up with Virginia, with North Carolina on ABC this weekend. I'll be doing that game Saturday.
1 out of 2 from the line for Price.
Price really made some big shots when he came off the bench.
Braswell pulls up for 3. It won't go. And the Deacons go down at home to the Duke Blue Devils. The first time Tim Duncan has ever lost to Duke in his marvelous career. And Mike Krzyzewski and the Blue Devils break a 9-game losing streak to the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest.
Well, he didn't get enough help today. Tim Duncan didn't get enough help from his people. Ricky Burrell had a tough time shooting the ball. But credit Duke with great defense, good offensive execution, and executing their game plan, and battling and scrapping and clawing, and doing it with a bunch of kids, very versatile and very athletic.
Stay tuned for Sports Center coming up next. You're watching ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The final score, Duke 73, Wake 68. For Dick Vitale, this is Mike Patrick. Good night from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.